the communications tab. Now, this looks like it has a lot going on, and it does, but it's not nearly as much as what you think. Okay, on the left-hand side, there's all these drop downs, accordion windows actually, and these are different types of communications. Meetings, it's a great place to put meeting notes, policies, do this in this situation, procedures. Those two are similar, but yet they're different. Procedures can be a lot more how to. Stories. I love it when companies have stories about how they came to be. And I think putting them in there is a great idea, especially as you bring on new people and they have access to this and they can see those stories. I think it's worthwhile. And announcements. That's, hey, something that whatever it may be that came up. Okay. Now, on the right-hand side, I call these team touches. You can recognize somebody for whatever. Okay, you can request help on something, and everybody will be able to see this. And then these types of things, on occasional, they get abused, and so when you put one in, it won't show up for yourself or anybody else until someone who has authority within your organization to do so approves them. But when they'll show up here nice and red and they'll catch somebody's attention. But when you start using this communication tab, someone has to go here with regularity to find it. Okay, so now what exactly is a communication? Well, you'll see here we have a list of meetings, but the communications all have the same basic setup. So we're just going to make one for the sake of you seeing how it's done because it's really a lot. There, if you think about it, communicating, regardless of the type of communication, involves the same types of things. So we're going to open one up here, start a new communication. So again, a communication can be related to any arena you are a part of and can be part of any um, initiative. So the initiatives that go with that arena show up there. And you can also, these are the different types of communications in here. And they're not in any necessarily order, but I've kept all the meetings together. And um, you'll, well, you can see what they are and the different types. The a quick hit that would just be notes on a very quick meeting. All right. Announcements, policies, procedures, and story we've already talked about. But the meetings, the quick hit, a strategic is more. Those are usually longer meetings. You don't do a strategic meeting in 15 minutes. You want to set aside 2 hours so that you can really talk about strategics are big picture things, and you really need to take time on those. And they can happen at any time. And sometimes when people are just getting into planning better, they'll have a lot of strategic meetings at first, but then after a while, they'll kind of ebb off and you'll end up with like one or two a month. It would be most common. And a tactical meeting, that is the more like, what are we going to do this week type of things. All right. Now, teammate one on ones, when those start happening with greater regularity, and it depends on the organization how often they happen, but this is a meeting usually between the supervisor and a teammate. It could be someone else, but that is the most common. And those are very private. And when you click on here, they won't show up on anybody's things except the teammates and the supervisors. Um, and then there, of course, are training meetings. Um, they have the same statuses as other things. You're quite used to seeing these. The one that's different would be a continuing. Those show up in yellow. It's like something that happens with great regularity. It's not used a lot because most people prefer to make separate meetings and then just have a consistent naming convention for them. The subject of the meeting, the date of the meeting, the time. The end time is useful so that you can see, when it's expected to end or when it actually ended, but not absolutely necessary. Again, if it's private, then only the people who are actually part of the meeting or the communication are going to be able to see it. The captain is the person who's in charge of making this meeting work right. You might say the person who they're the MC, so to speak. And the keeper, that's in there so that only these two people can edit the actual meeting. Other people can comment on it, but they can't edit it. Having this allows for there to be an editor, a note taker, that type of thing, or an assistant. But the captain is the person in charge. And then in the teammates, well, you can invite anybody on who is in the arena that you choose up here. And you can see, and we have some fake ones in here. Obviously, that's not a real person. And when you put them in there, their email addresses are also stored. You don't see them, but they're in there and they are notified if you choose to notify them about stuff. Now, a video link, sometimes people make videos of their meetings or they have an announcement and they do it via a video or the stories. I love it when people tell stories. So that would go in there, and normally it'll be like to a YouTube channel or some channel like that. All right, so now what makes up a communication? First of all, why are we having this communication? What's the objective or the purpose? We're and for your information, it's not the greatest objective in the world, all right? Name what you want to accomplish, to make a decision on, blah, blah, that type of stuff. Um, and everybody should be able to go and you know see this is what we're expected to do, and then later decide did we actually get that done? Okay, then it's just a big notes field, just like any other meeting. You put notes, and you can use these. I mean, take advantage of the styling things that are available to you because you can create outlines and or just bullet list and indent them by hitting tab or moving the arrows around, that type of stuff. You can put links in here if you want, this to reference documents. You just put the document in there, what it is, and link to it. And you can have multiple links in the notes and all that type of thing. And then there's the summary. This is really important. You need to summarize what you decided. It's just a good idea to put this little summary at the end. We decided to do, or where this is what is going to happen, going forward. It's just real important to do that. This comments, if people had comments, you would see them. There is a way, the comments is a way for other people to add their input on into anybody who's invited. Um, and the reason that you don't just let them edit it is because these fields are for the captain and the keeper to take care of. And you don't want people, deleting things they didn't want in there and things along those lines. Now, if you click yes to this, then everybody who is a part of this communication will go ahead and get it. So, if we're going to set this up, this is going to be, we're going to make this a tactical meeting, and it's just an example meeting, and we'll have it a month ago for that matter, or today, or however we want to do this. And I'm going to be both the keeper and the captain on this one, which you can do. And we'll invite this person here. The objective is to decide what additional training is needed. And we haven't had the meeting yet, so we won't put in notes, and we're the outcome. So we'll save that meeting in there. Now, when it comes back up to the meeting tab, the meetings are in order by their dates. And I backdated that one a little bit, so now I'm going to have to find it. And it was example meeting, and it was on the 20th. Right here it is. Okay. So now I can add a task to this meeting right here, real easy, and you can review it if you want to. But if we go to this meeting, and if you're an attendee, you can comment on it. And if you do so, it just opens this up and you put in your comment. Now your comments can't be changed or erased. And they'll be added in chronological order. So if multiple people comment on it and it date stamps them, now it's going to refresh the window behind it. And when it does, if you click on this, it'll show there's that comment. Here's the details that we had put in earlier. Since I'm the captain and the keeper can edit the details. That's the date and time and subject and that stuff. And editing the notes would be editing these fields in here. Now here's the interesting thing. We can see the reviews and people can review the meeting and anybody can look at this and see this unless I make it private, which I did not. But we can add task and milestones to this. So if I go in here and I hit new task, now it brings up another task and it links it to this meeting. If that meeting had been linked to an initiative, it would put it in there. And I'm going to make sure, so this is meeting task example. I'm going to be the captain of it, and I'm going to make it due the 29th. It's just a normal task. So I hit enter, and now you'll be able to see the tasks that are related to a meeting, and you can go back to a meeting to see if those tasks have actually gotten done. But the other thing that happens here is those tasks, that task will now show up on the WMS. And yes, I'm using Preferred Insurance Center now, but that task, meeting task example, is now in here on the WMS. So it's going to have the accountability of any other task. And if I go to my task, it's also going to show up under the My Task window, which is exactly what you want it to do. Right there it is, so that things get done. And that is, and it's the same for every communication. It works exactly the same. So those are the communications, and it is incredibly useful. Thank you.